Hi, everybody. I apologize for the error on the stream title. I always forget to do that. It used to just pop up and say, "Hey, would you like to edit this?" And now that it doesn't, I never remember to edit it, and so you get last week's stream. Don't worry about quiz grades. It's one quiz. The class is worth 500 points. The quiz is only worth 15. Don't freak out. Don't even worry about your grade for the first 6 or 7 weeks. Like, do the best you can. Like, think of the class as whose line is it everywhere? Whose line is it anyway? Like where everything's made. Well, everything isn't made up, and the points do kind of matter. But like, it is impossible to determine your grade at this point. Like, you've never taken an organic quiz. You've never taken a quiz on Canvas with me. You're still getting a feel for it. What's important is that you do all right on the exam. Which, guess what? It's the same questions. They aren't that different. So, like, if you can do these questions now after you've seen the key, then you can do the ones on the exam because they're going to be really similar. So you'll be okay. Don't freak out. Yeah. I know that a lot of people really struggled on the first quiz, and probably because I got you with a bunch of, like, minutia that are important and that I mentioned and we talked about, and then in the grand scheme of things probably slipped by. Like, that's totally a thing. And I can't fault you for that. I mean, I am testing you on things that I want you to know, but there is a lot for you to know. So don't freak out if you forget one thing, because making mistakes is also a part of the learning process. And I feel like, with at least in my experience and the experience of students that I have spoken to, if you do, like, not well on a quiz or not as well as you would have wanted to, and then you look at something, you're like, oh, that was such an obvious mistake. Why the hell did I do that? You learn a lot from that experience. So try to learn from your mistakes and don't freak out. Don't freak out. That's the worst thing you could do right now. There are plenty of better things to freak out about, like COVID. Freak out about COVID. That's worth freaking out for. But grade, not really. Where am I going here? I want to go to this page. If it loads. There we go. It didn't capture. Hold on. That's what I want. All right, so today we are going to look at... I don't really need all that white space over there, so we'll just do this. I don't really need this either. We're going to look at lab number 2. And so I have got the PDF here, which I will capture in another window, and then I've got the worksheet here. Ooh, now I do need this side. There we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about lab number 2, as well as have a Q&A if people have questions. So let me capture this PDF here. There we go. Oh, I have to do this. Let's put it in front. There we go. All right. So you've turned in lab number 1, presumably. I haven't graded it yet. That's hopefully going to be on my agenda today, is to grade as many labs as I can. Now, keep in mind, I do have 2 other classes, so it takes time for me to grade labs. And I'm also trying to create content for this class, so if I get them done by the end of the week, I'll be really happy. But you do have another lab to turn in, which is this one, and this will be due next week. Keep in mind, there is an exam coming up sometime next week. It's midterms. Believe it or not, we're almost halfway done with the class. So try not to get bogged down, because the workloads will start to pile up as the quarter goes on. Worksheet number 2 involves hydrocarbons. We spent all of Chapter 11 and all of Chapter 12 talking about hydrocarbons. We're mostly done with Chapter 12. We're going to start Chapter 13 tomorrow. And the point of this lab is to take everything that you learned and then apply it to a experimental setting to allow you to identify stuff. So identification of compounds is a really important skill to develop. And if we were doing this in the laboratory, you just play with test tubes and mix things together and say, oh, okay, this has hexane in it. Or, oh, this has cyclohexene. And you could definitively do that because you would know, okay, hexane won't react with HBr, but cyclohexene will, and so on. So, am I getting the chapter numbers wrong? I might be. In a different textbook that I teach this from, it's chapter 11, but I think this one is 12. So, the first 2 chapters we're almost done with. We're going to move on to the 3rd chapter. Whether I think that's 14, I guess now. Yeah. It's the one with ethers and carboxylic acids and ketones and alcohols. Everything with O in it is how I remember it. It's the oxygen chapter. We're not going to deal with C and H by itself anymore. We're going to start throwing an O. And then we're going to throw an N and S. And then we'll be done. So for this lab, you're going to look at hydrocarbons and explore their various chemical properties. Because as we learned in the unsaturated hydrocarbons chapter, the one with double bonds and triple bonds, stuff with double bonds and triple bonds do interesting chemistry. So we're going to explore some of those reactions here. So I talk about different hydrocarbons, and a little bit about benzene. So you'll be working with benzene. You're going to be working with 3 compounds in this lab. Here they are. So hexane, cyclohexene, note that it's an alkene, and toluene. And those 3 unknowns are going to be they're going to undergo a series of tests. So like in test 1, we set them on fire. In test 2, we reacted with bromine. In test 3, we oxidize it, so on and so forth. What we do is what I do here is I describe the test that you're going to do in the background here. So you can read through all this just to get an understanding of what's going on. There's going to be 5 different tests. And then I start showing you pictures of stuff. So here are all the chemicals before they are used. And then, for example, we mix things together, and this is what you see. We set things on fire, and this is what you see. We have a video of one of the reactions, so you can click on that and see it. And what you're going to basically do is you're going to look at the test results for the knowns, and then compare them to the unknowns and try and make an identification. And figure out, okay, which of my unknowns, A, B, C, corresponds to the knowns hexane, cyclohexene, and toluene, based on the observations that you can make here. Okay, and so we have pictures and stuff like that. What you're going to do is you are then going to go to the lab documentation, and you're going to basically take the information that you see in the observations and try and pin down what each one is. So you could say, okay, based on my observations, the hydrocarbons are easily dissolved in whatever. And I don't know, something like that. So you're going to take your observations and write them in these boxes, kind of like you did for the first lab. But there's going to be a lot of look at the observational data that we have given you, and then turn it into a statement that describes what your understanding of that data is. I'm going to ask you to refer to the pictures. And so cite evidence. Whenever you see the words justify your answer, what that means is cite evidence to show that you're not just claiming something baselessly. So, like, if you saw something turn from orange to purple in the lab, state that in your answer, because I can't assume that that's what you meant if you don't say. Okay. You're going to do a lot of observations. The analysis questions take up 2 pages, which you can't see because I haven't scrolled this all the way down. There they are. So just make sure when you are answering these, you are on the right tab. The last tab is specifically, hey, what was the result of each test? Was it a positive test or a negative test? And then finally, what are the unknowns? Tell me. Now, just as a little bit of a reminder, in 121, you did a few experiments where you did something that had positive tests or negative tests. So remember that a positive test is a test where the unknown, or let's see here, the sample analyzed matches that of the sample tested, to be tested for. So, for example, if you are testing for an alkene and your sample does what we tell you it should do, you have an alkene. You have tested positive for an alkene. Think of it like a drug test. If you take a drug test and you test positive for, I don't know, like a steroid or something like that, then what that meant is they did a test that showed that you had the steroid in your body. For example, maybe steroids, when exposed to iron, turn green. And so if you mix the solution and it turns green, oh, this person has taken steroids. All of these tests are going to be very similar in nature to that. Do this thing, and if you see that, then that means that that is there. That's what a positive test means. A negative test means that the sample... I can't type and speak at the same time. Analyzed displays other characteristics than those tested for. So, for example, a negative test could just be nothing happened. There was no visible change. But a negative test could also be the expected color was green and the actual color it turned was red. So if you get a different result than what you expected, it's a negative test. All right. So I will leave those there on the spreadsheet for you. You should be able to access this. I don't see anybody is actually in here, but that's okay. Make sure that you don't write in this column. I don't know if anybody did that for the first lab, but it really screws up the spreadsheet. Something else that I was informed of is that when you go to submit your lab, so you go to the assignments page, and then you click on lab worksheet number 1. Let me pretend to be a student really quickly. Oh, there it is, right here, okay. Okay, so when you attempt to submit this, there's like a button that lets you like see or preview what you've submitted, and it looks really, really funky, is my understanding. I got countless emails about this because apparently Canvas has changed this. Don't worry about it, because what I do, this is what I do. So when I get your labs, let me get out of the student view. I tell it, okay, let's go to the assignment. I'm already there. I don't know what I was doing. That's quiz number 1. See, everything moves on Canvas. It's really frustrating. I push this button, and then I just download all of your submissions. So there's everybody's submissions in a file. And then I can click here to download it, which it just popped up for me to do that. So let me actually save it here. So my work, student work, winter 2021, Chem 131 OLA. Oh, and then lab number 1. There we go. So I have your documentation that you have uploaded to Canvas for lab number 1 if you did so. Okay. If you did not upload a worksheet number 1 to this page and I don't have it, then you have to turn it in with your NQA coupon. I was unable to upload in Google Sheets. Can you go over that? Give me a second here. That's not what I wanted to do. Announcements. I wanted to do this. There we go. So this would be laboratory worksheet number 2. Please submit your laboratory worksheet .xlsx file here. All right, labs are worth 25 points. Oops, I don't want an external tool. This is online. You get unlimited attempts to do that. Okay, so when is this due? It's due next week. My cats are fighting. Of course they are. And then it closes there. So let's put this online. Okay, so as a student, how would you upload this? So once you have this file and you are done with it, you need to save your own copy, obviously. You're going to download as a Microsoft Excel. If you choose any other option, it won't work. You have to do all of your work in this page, and then you have to save it as an Excel sheet. It will ask you where would you like to save it. Save it to your desktop. We're just going to save straight to the desktop. That's fine. And then when you go back to here, it will say upload file. And so you can click on this. It's going to ask you to find your file. That's the file I want. And so now it is uploaded. I'm going to hit submit. Apparently confetti falls. I wasn't aware of that. And then it shows you what you submitted, and it will be broken. Don't worry about this. This is not what I see. This is just what Canvas is trying to present the file as its best interpretation. Canvas doesn't know how to do Excel. It has no idea what's going on. So don't worry about it. Yeah, you can't submit the Google Sheet. Don't paste a link there. Do it this way. The lab documentation in the... It's right here. Let's see here. Leave student view. Oh, now I have to grade the test student, so that's great. Right here. So, where is it? That's an issue. Okay. No wonder I'm getting so many questions about this. The document isn't linked for... I normally give you a document that says this is how you upload shit. Well, now you know how to upload stuff because I'm an idiot. I thought it was here, so I apologize for that. We did show that at least in the week 2 lab video, but I thought there was a document here. Yeah, I don't see it. Anyway, now it's shown how to do that again on the screen here. I think since I don't have that documentation here, what I will do, let me do this really quickly. Let's go boop. And then, because I'm going to click on the gradebook here. If anybody didn't turn in their lab, I will just accept it as on time. Because it looks like I have a few people that didn't do that. And it's entirely possible that the documentation not being there is a reason for that. So I will extend the deadline for lab number 1 if anybody hasn't turned it in. I'll post that announcement later. I have to get off the gradebook before I open this back up, though. So quizzes, announcements, module, whatever. I apologize for that. I was not aware that was an issue. I'll fix that after the class today. As far as this lab is concerned, though, getting back to the topic of the lab, it's very straightforward. The issues that I think students will come into is ambiguity in interpreting the directions. And the reason for that is, or not directions, I'm sorry, interpreting the observations. I did not get enough sleep last night. I'm very tired. Because the observations are going to be visual, and I understand that for some people, like, color is difficult to interpret for you. You might have a different viewing experience. So like you might be looking on a 4K TV versus somebody looking at their iPhone. Might be harder to see stuff on one or the other, and so on. So if you have questions about the observations and it's ambiguous or you just aren't sure, remember the whole point of having the class Discord and being online is that you talk to other people and ask them about it. You have to do your own lab report, so you can't submit the same lab report as another person. That gets you a 0. But as long as you are doing your own work, you can collaborate. That's totally fine. Other than that, I don't see this experiment being very difficult. And then the next one, lab number 3, is more or less the same thing, but we just give you 8 unknowns instead of 3. So that's what our labs are going to be for a few weeks, is identify the unknowns. Good luck. And that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I don't really have much more to say about it, so... Yep, that's exactly it. So read the observations, see the observations, and then interpret the observations to identify the unknowns. There is a clear candidate for each unknown based on the tests, but not based on any individual test. You have to put all of the facts together. So if unknown A did this in the first test, and then did this in the second test, and then did this in the third test, what does that tell you? All of that information together. Alright, so what we'll do is, if there aren't any other questions about the lab, or if you do have questions about the lab, let me know. So, I mean, it's only 25 minutes, so it seems really weird to put the break time thing up here. But what we'll do is we'll do this, and I'll just collect questions for 10 minutes. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer, please type them in the chat. If they're related to lab, that works too. I'm going to go put that document that's supposed to be there online. And I will send out another announcement that says, hey, turn in lab number 1 by the end of the day if you didn't get it in on time because you didn't know how. And I apologize again for that. Okay, so let me hit this, and we'll get more Earthbound going, and I'll see you in a bit. Yeah, if you have food, like do whatever you want to. Like you have agency. You can do what you need to. So before we go to the Q&A, what I wanted to do was show you where this file was. So I just sent out an announcement. Um, Maya would also like to make an announcement. Hi, say hi. Yep, there we go. Okay, good. Um, so the file that I was mentioning is right here now. So how to upload completed worksheets to Canvas. So if you have not been able to upload the file and you just don't know what's going on, I have this documentation that I had intended for you to have at the start, but it shows you what to do. And most people were able to get it all uploaded, so I feel like there's probably enough information in the videos from before, but now we have this document too to be extra short. And I've also extended the deadline to uh, end of tomorrow. So I will download everybody's lab files again and grade them at that time. I was like, who the heck turned in lab worksheet number 2 already? I just realized that was me, so that can go away. Okay, so somebody had a question about a quiz question. So let me turn this off. Let me find the quiz question. So comparing molecules to a target molecule, different conformations are unique. So first I need to scare Maya away. Maya, you need to stop. What am I looking at here? There we go. I can't do it this way. I have to go into the item bank. God, I hate Canvas sometimes. So when I make the quiz, this is what my quiz looks like. This is how frustrating this is. So I have some questions I can see because everybody has to do them. But like for all of the questions that you're doing, I pull them from a bank. And when I click on it, this is what I get. What's the question that you want to look up? I don't know. I can't get to it. That's all I have. So I think the worst part of Canvas is making quizzes for you. So if you guys hate taking the quizzes, I hate doing the quizzes. It took me 4 hours to write the quiz for Unit 13. This was what, Unit 12? It's Chem 140. That's why everything is confusing. Chem 131. Where's the quiz key at? So when you've taken the quiz, you should be able to click on quiz number 1 again. Let me see if I can demo that. Let's show that real quick. So if you click on this again, I don't know how to do that. This is already open. Give me just a second. So I will have to just I will have to submit something. So I'm just pretending that this was one of your quizzes. Wow, this takes forever. Okay, so boop. I mean, I don't care what the answers are for these. So let's see here. Dude, I'm not even going to try to get them right. So I'm just going to click options. And then that's probably good. Let's just submit the quiz. All right. So now there's a record. Normally it would just show you your score. Oh, I didn't pass. That's too bad. But now what I should be able to do is when I click on this, There should be a button that says, there we go. So attempt history, you should be able to click on your attempt, and then it will show you your results. So, and it should just show you the answer key along with everything that is there. I can't show you that for a particular student because that would be obviously a FERPA violation. But I believe that is what you do. If somebody is doing that at this moment and can confirm or deny, let me know. Because presumably I have the pink border. I'm seeing what it looks like for you guys. Okay. Then I want to turn this off again. That is not working for quiz 1. That's strange. Let me debug that. Why would that not be working for quiz 1? Okay, that's weird. What here is preventing that? Go to submission details. Go to submission details. It works for me when I click on submission details. Man, I wish that I could preview it. But it will take me like 10 minutes for me to set it up. And also, I don't even know if it would work. Oh, why can't Canvas work as intended? It works on submission details. Okay, cool. So go into your quiz history and then click on submission details. Sounds like the way to go here. And I apologize that I don't know all of these answers because I can't see. I can't see what your quiz has. Oh yeah, it may take a very long time to load because it has to pull from different sources and it's probably not doing it very optimally. Okay, cool. As long as it works. So that's how you do it. I totally don't remember what I was talking about now. Oh, it was quiz number 1. We had a question about conformational isomers or something like that. Let's see here. Comparing molecules to a target molecule, different conformations are unique. So, if one molecule is a 6-carbon chain and the other carbon is a 7-carbon chain, is it unique? Yes. So, unique means that they have different structures, but not conformations. So, I guess the best way to do this would just be to draw on the tablet instead of trying to find an example here. So, remember that conformations are the same molecule in terms of its structure, but just oriented in a different way. So, for example, this would be a conformation of hexane, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be another conformation of hexane, but they look different. But they have the same structure and formula, and so we call these conformations. And you can look back at lab number 1 On the test, I hit unique, but it said I was wrong when the structures were different carbon lengths. A was 6 and B was 7. So I'll look specifically at your question, but I can't put that on the screen, obviously. Oh, I gotta get out of the student view. So it is possible that when I write these, I make mistakes, and fortunately, it's easy to fix that. So let's see here. Gabriella. One, two, three, four, five, six. One, two. Yeah, it looks like you have the right answer. I'm not really sure what is wrong with this problem here. So let me regrade it. So let me do that. Award points for correct answer. Regrade. Okay. So everyone's grades will change now. So if you got that question marked incorrectly wrong, you will get credit for it. I need to go into, which question was that? Is that one? Wait a minute. 3. Oh, where is it? Confirmations. There we go. Okay, that's not the question I want. Sorry, give me just a second. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't save the correct answer. Okay. Okay. Okay, that has been fixed. And I apologize for that. I have to go and modify all the scores again. I hate Canvas. I hate it so much. Okay. For any question that has been regraded, you will get a little button that pops up that says, "Hey, this response has been regraded," and it will change the number of points you have. If you had chosen the correct answer, but it had marked you wrong, your score will go up. The side to that is that if you'd chosen the incorrect answer that was claimed to be correct, then your score goes down. There's not much I can do about that. It looks like scores did overall go up, so that's good. But it's good to ask questions like that because I only have so much information to figure out, like, what is going on with these quizzes. That one definitely stands out, though. All right, are there other questions? What can we expect on the midterm? You're going to see questions very similar to these questions on the quizzes. So they won't necessarily be the same questions because they're all pulled from a giant pool, right? So you might see similar questions. You might actually see one or two that are the same questions that you had, but you definitely won't see all of them be the same because the odds are astronomically small that that will happen. The midterm is not until next week. There will be a quiz for chapter 13 that will be due before the midterm. And then we're going to do probably almost all of chapter 14, and then I will test you on those 3 chapters. Anything else? Last call for questions. All right. Well, I'm going to be here all afternoon because I'm just going to be grading for the next until 5, and then I have a class at 5. So if you have any questions, you can always ask me in the Discord. I'm happy to answer them there. Or send me an email. Please look over your quizzes, and if you have any questions that look strange, like that doesn't seem right, let me know because there is the possibility of an error. We did find an error today. I won't say that they are all wrong. If they were, I would probably be very sad. Um, but mistakes do occasionally happen because I am not perfect. I have no proofreader. I wish I had a proofreader. I do the best they can. All right, so I want to thank everybody for coming out to the lab lecture. I know that these are really short, and they're sort of just for a lot of these labs, they're going to be kind of duh sort of situations, but I am also happy to get your feedback so that I can improve things and make things more clear. So thank you for that. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for lecture. Have a good night.